Hi, welcome to Study with Rishi, and this is 10-minute system design course where we learn any system design concept in 10 minutes or less. In this video, we are going to talk about different communication protocols between client and server. We will talk about Ajax polling, long polling, WebSockets and server-side events. I will keep the details concise and crisp. But first, let's try to understand what a standard HTTP web request looks like. For a regular HTTP request, the client opens a connection and requests data from server. The server calculates the response and the server then sends back the response back to the client on the opened request. Now, using the same standard example, let's move to Ajax polling or a normal polling. Well, polling is a standard technique used by vast majority of Ajax applications. The basic idea is that client repeatedly requests or say polls a server for data. The client makes a request and waits for the server to respond back with data. If no data is available, immediately an empty response is returned. The problem with polling is that the client has to keep asking the server for any new data repeatedly. This is called busy waiting. As a result, a lot of responses are empty, creating HTTP overhead. Let's move to another version which is called HTTP long polling. This is a variation of traditional polling technique that allows the server to push information to a client whenever the data is available. With long polling, the client requests information from the server exactly as in normal polling, but with an expectation that the server may not respond back immediately. That is why the technique is sometimes referred to as hanging get. If the server doesn't have any data available for the client, instead of sending an empty response back, the server holds the request and waits until some data becomes available. Once the data becomes available, a full response is sent to the client. The client then immediately re-requests information from the server so that the server will almost always have an available waiting request that can be used to deliver data in response to an event. Let's understand this with a visual example. The client makes an initial request using regular HTTP, then waits for a response. The server delays its response until an update is available or a timeout has occurred. When an update is available, the server sends a full response to the client. The client typically sends a new long poll request either immediately upon receiving a response or after a pause to respect the API rate limit. Each long poll request has a timeout. The client has to reconnect periodically after the connection is closed due to timeouts. If the traffic is low between the client and server, means messages aren't sent on a very frequent interval, then long polling is a good choice. Now let's talk about WebSockets. Well, WebSockets provide full duplex communication channel over a single TCP connection. It provides a persistent connection between a client and a server. That means both parties can use to start sending data at any time, and it doesn't require to do handshake again. The client establishes a WebSocket connection through a process known as WebSocket handshake. If the process succeeds, then the server and client can exchange data in both directions at any time. The WebSocket protocol enables communication between a client and a server with lower overheads, supporting real-time data transfer from and to server. In this way, a two-way, bidirectional ongoing conversation can take place between a client and a server. This is heavily used in real-time applications like chat applications, example, WhatsApp. Now let's talk about server-sent events. Under server-sent events, the client establishes a persistent and long-term connection with the server. The server uses this connection to send data to client, but here client cannot send data to the server. If the client wants to send data to the server, it would require use of another technology or use of another protocol. Let's look at it visually. Client requests data from a server using regular HTTP. The requested web page opens a connection to the server. The server sends the data to the client whenever there is a new information available. And SSEs are best used when we need real-time traffic from server to client, or if the server is generating data in loop and it will be sending multiple events to the client. This can be used for apps like location tracking. Example, when you share your location with someone on WhatsApp. This could be done with server-sent events. So this was the video about communication protocols between client and server. If you like the video, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. I am also a mentor at Scalar Academy, and if you have a question around it, I have given my details in the description of the video. Do consider sending me a ping there. In the end, I thank you for watching the whole video. I hope you like it.